This week on today's Homeowner, we're fighting the weather and racing the clock to keep the Kuppersmith Project on schedule.
It's too cold to be able to lay brick or block or anything.
We're closing up the walls in just a few days, and there's a mountain of work to do first, so don't miss this show. Our transformation of this 1926 classic home is well underway. We call it the Kuppersmith Project, after the family who lived here for more than a half a century. Our guys have been really busy for the last several weeks. We've stripped all the cracked plaster from the inside walls and made room for a much-needed master suite on the back of the house. The old detached garage was beyond help, so when it came down, we built a new one that can meet the needs of a modern American family. The garage, the existing structure, and the addition have all gotten a new skin that matches the character of the old one, and it's all low maintenance, so it should easily last another 85 years. We've had some great weather along the way that's made getting all of this done much easier, but like most things, that's come to an end. Even on an ugly day like today, we still have to push hard to get everything ready for our brick masons and block masons that'll be here in just a couple days. Now, we want to make sure that they're hitting the ground running, and the last thing we have to do is to finish all of the footings in this area, which is the breezeway that ties the garage into the main house. We have to pour these footings, then the block mason will have to block up to create 3 different levels to provide that transition to the inside. Now, that's some fairly complicated block work, but nothing compares to the task he has ahead of him in tying the old bricks in with the new bricks right on this side. Hope the weather's a lot better. When it does clear up, our masonry contractor, Truett Chapman, and his crew go to work beginning on the street side where the old meets the new. To further conceal any transition point here, he's using the bricks we salvaged off the back of the house a few weeks ago.
Says Decatur, Birmingham, Stevenson Brick Company.
After we found new bricks that matched the ones on the existing house, one of our big concerns was matching the original mortar. But our brick distributor had a solution.
You know, the mortar companies they can match the color of your shirt if they need to.
Yeah.
So they've got 100 different colors. I can get with my mortar rep, maybe have him come out and look at it.
You can, because I mean, every job's important, but the level of exposure that this one's getting, we've got to have it flawless.
So as quickly as Truett's helpers can mix the mortar, he and the other masons began laying the bricks. While the bricks are going up, our back porch is getting a cool new look.
Is it just me, Mark, or don't you just love seeing the finished product go down?
Oh, I like to see a product like this go down, Alan. It's whenever you put it down, you're done with it. No staining, no painting. You're done.
Well, let me tell you, I know we've shown you composite decking before, but let me tell you why I like this particular one. This is Fibron's Horizon series. It's very rich, an epay. The composite core, you can see it right in here, 74% recycled material. That's very environmentally friendly. It's wrapped in this, what's called Permatech, which gives the industry's very first 20-year stain and fade warranty. Now, you couple this with something like the hidden fastener system like this. And hey, Mark, while we're on the subject of this, how tough is it to install these?
Oh, it's easy as it can be. You just take your clip, tap it in with your hammer. Stainless steel screw in it. And that's it.
One of the things I love about these hidden fastener systems is that they make a deck look more like a finished interior floor than a deck. And once they're all in, he chalks a line where the edge will be and makes one long straight cut to give it a uniform appearance. Fibron supplies an edge dressing to coat these exposed edges so that they match the finish of the boards. Now, speaking of finishes, the bricks for the house are coming along pretty well. But once again, the weather is slowing us down a little, but this time it isn't rain. Boy, this is one cold morning. If I was a brick mason, I don't believe I would have shown up for work this morning either. Actually, it's below freezing, so it's too cold to be able to lay brick or block or anything because it just won't set up properly. Could really be a big problem later on. Now, it's warming up now, so hopefully the guys will be able to get back out here later today and continue laying their 16,000 bricks they have ahead of them. But right now, let's check in with Joe Truini for this week's Simple Solution, and when we come back, we'll show you all the chaos that's taking place inside this renovation.
Sometimes the best kitchen storage idea is to hide something in plain sight, especially if it's an attractive item like wine glasses. In this case, I made a storage rack for the glasses on the underside of this cabinet. The nice thing is what I made it out of, which is T-molding. This is a floor transition molding you can get at any home center store, and it's made for transitioning from one type of floor to another. But if you look at it closely, you see it's T-shaped, so it's perfect for sliding in. You mount it to the underside of the cabinet upside down, you can slide the glasses in. I just took 3 pieces and cut them to 8.5 inches long, drilled a hole in each end, then attached it with screws to the underside of the cabinet. Now for the spacing, I noticed that for these particular wine glasses, each rack had to be 2 inches apart. As it turns out, the molding is exactly 2 inches wide, so I just used it as a spacer block. And now I can just slide the glasses in and they rest right on the T-molding. So not only did we solve a storage problem here, but it looks kind of cool too.
We're at the stage on the Kuppersmith Project where it is getting very intense. Everybody's working together so that we can hang drywall in just 2 days. And when you look around, you may go, no way, but we're going to make it some way or the other. Now, our heating and cooling contractors working hard on getting all of their work done, both here on the main level of the house as well as underneath the house. And on a cold day like today, I'm glad I'm not part of that crew. Also, our electricians working hard on wiring everything. There's a ton of wiring going on in this house. Also, the plumbers completed all of the work here in the laundry room, so it's ready to be drywalled. We also have our powder room over here where our electrician's working on wiring some switches and so forth. All of the plumbing's ready in this small room. And then we even have some heating and cooling work being done over here where we've had to carve out a little corner of this closet in order to have room for supply line and return air that will furnish part of this house from a unit up in the attic space above here. Everybody's working hard to make sure that we can make that deadline in just 2 more days. While the subcontractors are pushing hard to get the inside ready for insulation and drywall, our guys are working hard to get the house completely sealed before the drywall is hung. We saved the biggest opening for last.
Gotta come to y'all a little bit now.
This Geldwin double sliding door unit will separate the family room from the covered back porch. At 16 feet wide by 8 feet high, this thing is a handful.
I wish they'd have sent some instructions.
But when it's fully assembled and the doors are open, we'll have an unobstructed 8-foot by 8-foot opening. Very cool.
No, he ain't done it.
Yeah, Mike's gonna get his hand out there. He wants to take them fingers home with him.
Besides the pulling wire, running pipes, and routing ductwork inside, there's also a fair amount of research going on. Mike's trying to be sure he matches the right new-tone vent fan with the right bathroom because each has a specific style and is designed to move a specific amount of air. For Artie the plumber, it's even more complicated as he digs into the specs for the installation of this Moen digital shower valve.
It's gonna take a lot of tease and fitting and sweating out of the process.
And after more than a little head scratching,
Is this over your head?
It's a little bit, I'm fixing to call him.
Artie's guys began installing the system, so I'm stopping by to check on the progress. Artie, we were talking about coming up and seeing the shower valve. I wasn't expecting to come into an attic, but Moen's got a pretty good setup here.
Man, I like it. It's a really neat unit. It's fun to install too. It's a little bit different. I had to make a few phone calls to make sure I was doing things right and read the instructions, but really neat unit.
Oh, that's cool. You know, I saw this at a trade show, and I know they refer to it as the I/O Digital, and which pretty much sums it up because you're able to control everything so well. I know they had a remote control, they had a controller in the shower itself, so that you can really customize up to 4 different people in the house as far as that shower experience. Huh?
It's exactly right. It's got the little remote control. It's got a little micro key on it, and you hit it while you're in the shower. You set that temperature, Danny likes that temperature. He's going to push it. He gets in, everything's set and ready to go.
Yeah, that's perfect. Basically, then you have this part of it, and you feed, of course, your water, hot and cold's feeding into this, and then you have this delivery that goes down, and we got several heads we're putting in too.
It's got 4 branches, as you see, coming off at the top of the mixing valve. You know, gives you body sprays, handheld showers, your regular standard shower head. And they all can operate at different functions at different times. It's got some really neat devices in there to make it, you know, just a rainbow of showers.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, if you want to get spoiled a little bit in the master shower area, I guess that's the way to go.
It is.
Down on the back porch, Mark is gearing up for another unique installation. He's meeting with our rep from Phantom Screens to work out the details for the motorized screens they'll be installing in just a few weeks.
I'll just have to cut that a little bit. Just hanging over out, just right in between.
Right, he'll have to cut all that step there.
The screens will roll up and down with the motor and other mechanics housed in the soffit overhead.
Your motor's going to be actually attached to that beam, correct?
Yeah, we'll put our
It's
brackets.
screwed in that way.
The screens won't be ready for a few weeks, but the carpentry work on the columns and ceiling need to start now, so there's lots to nail down.
I'm good here, you're good there, shoot it at the top, and then we can work that bottom, make sure it's straight.
While this is getting sorted out, let's check out this week's best new product.
Now, if you ask me, I think our most precious resource is water. So it's really important to try to conserve it whenever you can, especially in the bathroom. Now, if you've got a normal toilet, when you flush it, 4 out of 5 times you're using more water than needed. So why don't you convert that toilet into a dual flush commode? And you can do it very easily with this kit right here. Now, this is it's a dual flush by Hydro-Right, and it's very easy. You don't need any tools to put it inside your tank. The great part is you don't have to take your tank apart either. Just remove the old system and pop this one in place. And this is how it works. It's got 2 buttons on it. The top button, which is button number 1, is great for flushing liquids and paper because it doesn't use a lot of water. If you need more water to flush solids through, all you have to do is press the second button underneath it and it'll do just that. Now, like I said, 4 out of 5 times you don't need as much liquid, so just press number 1 and you'll be in good shape, you'll save money, and most importantly, you'll save water.
For the last week or so, everybody on the Kuppersmith project has been pushing hard to get us ready to close up the walls.
As soon as the inspection's done, and the installation's done, we can knock that ceiling out, finish the porch, you know.
The plumbers, electricians, and heating and cooling people have been crawling all over this place to get ready for their inspections. We have to pass all of those and the framing inspection before we can start installing this drywall that's being delivered today. Between the gutted existing house, the additions, and the garage, we're going to go through a heck of a lot of this stuff.
So you got a 54-inch piece and a 48-inch standard that's going to reach this ceiling downstairs.
Now down here it's going to be a 54 and a 54. Upstairs is
Right. 54, and they're not going to have to cut it. Huh? And that ought to really help out on the finishing. Because if you got those situations like the old days where all you had is 48-inch, then you'd have it right in the middle that you could never get rid of. So that's awesome. That's great. And I know you put all the stuff upstairs, left the window out, and fed it in through the window up there. That was good. That was a good plan, because I don't believe anybody's gonna make it up those stairs with it.
No, you wouldn't make it up there with a 8-foot sheet on it.
I know it. You putting some here? You putting some in the front room?
Yeah, we're gonna put a little bit in the front room, about 10 sheets to do that area, and then some in the family room, and then we're gonna put some more over in the master bedroom, just so they don't have to tote it so far to hang it.
Right. Yeah.
And plus keep weight off this floor.
Yeah, I didn't think about the weight, the concentrated weight on something like this.
Yeah, so you don't want to put too much in one area with this wood floor.
Well, I tell you what, one thing about construction, you can always look around and see somebody else on the job doing something that you're glad that you don't have to do.
That's right.
And we're about to see that in a couple days with the insulation. The guys, the fiberglass, and I've never really even seen the guys foam a house before.
Right.
And so they're going to be foaming and then a little bit of the fiberglass for soundproofing and things like that around here. And then they'll be hanging in drywall first of the week. So seems like we keep it on deadline, 60 more days.
60 days.
While the drywall keeps stacking up, the list of things to do before we hang it gets shorter and shorter. Besides the thousands of feet of electrical wire, there's also speaker wire for the whole house audio system going into the walls and ceilings. Plus specialty cables to connect the high-def TV to the electronic components closet. Then there's the piping for our new-tone central vac system. That all has to go in now. And of course, all the blocking in the bathroom walls for hanging towel rods and paper holders.
Hey, you're not going to get bored around this job site. There's so much stuff happening right now, and it's a real important time because we've already gotten our plumbing inspection. We're very close to getting our heating and cooling inspection. Our electricians are working so hard to get their inspection this afternoon. That way, tomorrow, framing inspection, and we move forward with all of the foam insulation, fiberglass insulation, and installing a heck of a lot of drywall.
Speaking of that, Alan's digging into what makes this particular drywall so special.
While the wallboard's being delivered downstairs, here on the second floor, we've had this in place for a while simply because we wanted to get this in place before the windows were installed. It gave us easier access. But let me tell you what I like about this. This is USG's sheetrock brand. It's their ultralight panel. It is up to 30% lighter than any wallboard on the market today. That means it's easier to carry, easier to install. Pound for pound, it's stronger, which means it's also sag resistant. It's got a Class A fire rating. What I really like about it, above everything else, including everything I just told you, is the fact that inside the gypsum core is completely wrapped in 100% recycled paper, front and back. That means it also follows our attempt to be green.
Ever hear the saying, what you don't know can't hurt you? I can't say I totally agree with that. A good example is if you have unknown leaks in your heating and cooling duct system, it costs you a lot of money. When you have leaks, it dumps the expensive conditioned air into the attic and can pull outside air into the house along with dust and mold spores. Having a duct test is one of the smartest things you can do. These tests are very similar to the way a plumber can find leaks in the water pipes by pressurizing the ductwork with a calibrated fan and measuring the airflow with precision gauges to determine how much air is leaking. Once you know where the leaks are, it's a simple matter of sealing the ducts properly with a special tape and mastic. And the cost for this test is insignificant compared to the energy and money you'll save afterwards. The Kuppersmith Project has been moving at a rapid pace from day one, but the past week has flown by as we push to meet a deadline. The hard work and long hours have paid off. Every single one of our building inspections have been completed, and that allows us to move forward with the installation of our insulation and, very importantly, our drywall. You know, when homeowners are involved in renovations like this, they always tell me their lowest emotional level is the week before the drywall is installed because it just seems like no progress is being made at all. And as the owner of this place, I feel the same way. I can't wait to see all the walls and ceilings all covered up. And not only does it define the space, it gives you a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and you'll be able to see that next week right here on today's Homeowner. I'm Danny Lipford. I hope you're enjoying the Kuppersmith Project. It's taken a lot of work to get this project off the ground, and our Kuppersmith Project partners have helped make that happen.